own mama. Let me just tell you something right now. Before the season even kicks fully off, if you think we're going to be sitting here week after week watching them argue over one issue for the entire episode, y'all have lost your ever loving mind. Y'all, let's get into Love and Marriage DC season 3. Welcome back, Question Crew. It's your girl Tammy, and for all of our new subscribers and followers, don't forget to hit that like button and turn your notifications on so you never miss a video. Now let's get into it. So, child, we back like we never left, or at least they won't let us leave, honey. And the first thing we do is see Miss Ashley Silver full, loud, and in a stocking of some sort, honey. I don't know what's going on with this white dress and this white ensemble, but we are checking in with the ladies to see where they have stopped off the last time. Well, the couple, honey, but the show is really about the ladies, let's be honest. So Ashley's letting us know that she's writing a book and she's exhausted in the process. And that's what we're going to see this season. Jamie's falling down the steps, honey, and Raina's telling us that he is getting on her nerves since he retired. She needed a man to get that. She needed a man to get a side gig. Winter got her a new man at home, and he's so good. And Joy and Clifton still around, honey, letting people know that they married, not married, might be having a threesome with Carmen. We gonna see. Black and Sharilla just trying to figure it out every day, looking like struggle. And Raina is standing everybody's business. Ashley has exposed that Joy is married to Clifton, and we are still in the throes of that. When I tell you this one was exhausting. So, child, when I tell you they kept us into the thick of it, we are tired, but we are still back on this Christmas party, honey. We are already smooth into 2024. And we are still on this Christmas party where Miss Ashley is beefing with Joy about the fact that Ashley revealed that Joy and Clifton were married before they had the chance to. Joy didn't appreciate it. Clifton didn't appreciate it. And they are still pissed. At least Joy is still pissed, honey. And she is now at Ashley and Quick's annual Christmas party to let her know how she feel. They didn't have this discussion and they got into a little bit of a tussle, honey. It was a little bit of a fight. Joy showed up really not uninvited, but essentially she showed up invited, but Ashley assumed she wasn't coming once she realized that she was still pissed at her. So to show up to my house, one of the tightest houses, I will say, in terms of space, was wild. So Miss Joy shows up to the house party. They start getting into it. And the next thing you know, they getting separated. Ashley walking up the steps, pissed, in this tight ass stairwell. Honey, when I tell you the claustrophobia was coming all the way through. What was with this tight stairwell? This is a fire hazard. I don't even know why you tell me. This stairwell was ridiculous. Up the steps is Raina and Jamie. Somebody trying to pull Ashley away. Ashley's like, no, she's not going to disrespect me in my house. Ashley's like, you don't check me. Da, 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 da. She starts getting into it with Raina on a tight staircase because essentially she feel like Raina went after Joy first when the tussle went down. Like once everybody was separated, she feel like Raina should have came and checked on her because it is her party. This is my holiday soiree, girl. What you doing checking on the other lady? And she says that she doesn't appreciate the fact that Raina is really her friend, even though Raina said that she's becoming cool with both ladies and did not check to see if she was okay first. Point blank, period. And Raina's like, look, girl, I was just trying to make sure everything was cool. I saw Ashley first. And I saw Joy first, and that's who I checked on. It wasn't anything personal. But in the throes of it, her and Ashley getting into it, the Santa house hats on. And when I tell you this is far from the behavior that the North Pole will allow, but everything about the DMV will. So, honey, once they go into this back and forth, everybody has separated them at this point. And I told you, like, there's a back and forth going on with Raina and Ashley on them steps. They pushing, they pulling, they trying to get them up. And Jamie trying to get Raina up the top of the steps. And meanwhile, Joy is leaving the party at this point, honey, because production has said, stepped in and said party over. And Joy is leaving out with some friends, and she says that she is pissed off because not only is she mad that Ashley really didn't seem genuine and sincere in her apology, but she doesn't appreciate that during the argument, Ashley feels the need to let her know that the reason that she's even on this show is because of her. She said that is too self-centered for her, and Ashley and her are now enemies. Meanwhile, Raina is letting Jamie know that, hey, it's crazy that she's even saying that type of situation, or really she's letting us know on the sideline because she's saying, look, you're not the only person that pitched them. We also pitched them to the network because, as you know, Joy and Clifton were on Ready to Love DC and, well, really DMV, honey, because they was always having dates in Maryland. But anyway, they're basically saying that when they decided to come over to Love and Marriage Huntsville, because this is a Carlos King production, that they are the ones that sort of pitched Carlos, that them as a couple, to Carlos to be on the show. And Arena's saying, look, I also back that play. Meanwhile, Ashley is arguing with her on the steps with everybody at the party. Honey, the party is simply over. Somebody threatening jail time, somebody threatening production, somebody saying, if you put your hands on me, I'm not one of them. It has gotten to a fevered pitch, and it is time to end the night. So the next morning, honey, Ashley's talking to her short king, aka Quick. I just have to say, shout out to the short kings. I appreciate a good man, even if he is a little bit of a certain height. It wouldn't be for me as a tall woman. I'm a little discriminatory in this area, although I always feel bad about that. I mean, 5'10" and above is good for me, but anything shorter than that, I don't know. It's looking like a son situation. And it was certainly looking like a son situation in this moment. Was it? I don't know how everybody else felt, but I just really feel like with all of the conversation around money and what's going on and who's doing that and who's doing this, how come they didn't have a cleaning crew? Did anybody wonder that? The house was in shambles, honey. Not only from the altercation, but just in the mess of an after party. And the fact that they were self-cleaning, who does that? Where? Honey, a maid service is not that much in the DMV. It's a little Mary Maid situation and you're done. I do not understand cleaning up after your own party. It couldn't be me. But nonetheless, Quick is coming in, helping Ashley clean up after the party and all the shenanigans that went in that tight ass apartment. Well, it's not even an apartment, it's a house, but it just feels claustrophobic and tight. I need them to get more space. Anyway, Quick looking like her son helping to clean up his mama after the event. And Quick said, this is crazy. In the 15 years that they have done this Christmas party, they have never had a fight. I find that hard to believe. With Ashley's mouth and the liquor flowing easily, I do not see none of their situations ever ending completely pretty. I'm not saying that the police have to be called. I'm saying that somebody's gotten in a little skirmish or two, even verbally, in that house during the Christmas season. Ashley says that, Joy shouldn't have even been there. She had not anticipated her being there because, as she stated before, while she did initially invite her, Joy essentially was like, having an issue with her about the whole reveal of the wedding thing. So she didn't think she was coming and, she didn't anticipate her being there. She said that Joy really should have been at home. She really should have been with Clifton in the hospital instead of coming here. When I tell y'all, Ashley was completely pissed. And she doesn't understand like where all the hoopla from this situation came from because she feels like she's over apologized at this point. Once she found out that she did upset Ashley, she did apologize to her. She did say multiple times, I'm sorry. And she said, I'm not a not sorry chick. I say what I say and I mean it. So the fact that I said it multiple times and you still not accepting it, girl, I don't know what you want me to do, but you will not be back at the Silver's house. So, Ashley's night ended how it did, honey, and Joy's night ended how it did. And Joy feels like she is genuinely hurt. She feels like this is just an annoying situation that has gone on. It's added to the pressure of the fact that Clifton is in the hospital and she can't see him consistently. And she left his side last night to be with these people. And she feels like she did not get an embracing moment, at least from the host of the party. She feels like, she's just happy to see Clifton. She hated leaving him last night because he is currently healing from his back surgery. And she really wants to help him out because, when you're in the hospital, they got that nasty food and a nasty tray, honey. And she's like, look, I want to bring you a real meal. He's like, look, I'm just happy to be out and breathing and in the air. Because as you know, if you ever had a surgery in your life, you know how it feels to be recouping and the whole situation. You start to get claustrophobic and you really want to leave that hospital room. So he asked Joy to give him the tea, honey, while they're sitting outside because he wasn't there. And I was just like, okay, sir, she definitely contacted you before then, but let's pretend like y'all hearing this for the first time. And Joy said that she never showed up to Ashley's place with any drama in mind. She showed up to there with good intentions, but the road to hell is paved with it, honey. And she says that she was there to, I guess, clear the air. Now, we all have a different definition of clearing the air, I can see. Because I feel like Joy came knowing that it was going to be some BS. But Joy says that, she was still pissed about the fact that Ashley, exposed that her and Clifton were married. And that she felt like she wasn't really remorseful in acknowledging that it was a wronged action and how messed up it was. And I have to say, I haven't been seeing this season a lot in like the last couple of years. Like I think I saw the first season of Love and Marriage DC and it was just like for me. So I didn't really get to see a lot of season 2. But I have to say, just from a personal perspective, and I think you all can agree. If not, let me know down in the comments. That's what they're there for. But I feel like, how many times do you have to apologize to somebody over something that you've done? it feels like we are constantly looking. I can see if you feel like somebody's being completely disingenuous, but I feel like if a person has said multiple times that they are sorry, they're probably sorry. And at that point, it's up to you when to get over it. But, um, Clifton says that Ashley is just not somebody who clearly is getting how it's affecting Joy, and that maybe they're not really friends all that much. They were truly growing a friendship. Joy also feels the need to mention to him that the other part that really made her mad last night was the fact that Ashley said that the reason that they're on this show is because of her. And of course, that's when Clifton chimes in and supports his wife, but also gets a little shady, saying, "Well, Carlos King is the final decider who's going to be on the show." But I do hate that people pretend like making a case for someone doesn't help. Yes, Carlos has the final say so, but on all of these shows in general, even when it came to like the Bravo shows, we need to stop trying to not give people their credit for why you're on the show to begin with. Whether it's Married to Medicine, whether it's Real Housewives, whether it's Love and Marriage DC. It does help that a producer obviously is the final say so, and they are the person that says, yes, this is going to be a casted person. But you getting pitched by someone already on the show is super helpful. They usually are the person that's going to help introduce you to the show 9 times out of 10. And producers can't see everything, and neither can casting. So when they find somebody that's a diamond in the rough, or even a gem that they haven't seen before, and they want to cast them, it helps that cast members may already know somebody else that can come on the show, because these shows thrive off an ensemble cast. So somebody putting in a good word from you don't hurt. When I tell you Jamie was all of us, when Arena was trying to explain her part from last night, that man was opening up that drink that whole time. I think he was opening up for his wife. When I tell you, if I have to re-listen to the details of an Angry Bird story, I absolutely want a little bit of a mimosa or a mocktail, or really a cocktail, a little bit of extra vodka. Mocktail with vodka, still a cocktail. And I just feel like it's one of those things where I can't listen to this over and over again. So his face, even though he was asking questions, it was like almost with an agony. I do not want to talk about this. So it's the morning after the drama, and Jamie wants to know why Arena is in the kitchen cooking, and she's bright-eyed and bushy-tailed. Honey, she moving around with the energy of 5 cups of coffee. And he's trying to find out why your adrenaline is so high. And she said that her adrenaline is high because she's still on one from last night. She's trying to figure out what the hell happened to her, and Ashley ended up arguing on them steps back and forth on some get your finger out my face, get your finger out my face energy. And also, why was Joy so pissed off, and how did her and Ashley even get into a tussle when this was supposed to just be, I guess, a discussion? And Arenas just doesn't understand this, because her and Jamie have gone to the Silvers Christmas party for the last couple of years, and they've never seen this occur. So they're very shocked that this even happened at this event. It was also random and a little hurtful that Arena's saying, like, hey, why did Ashley even bring up the pitch conversation? Because we also pitched them. We also spoke about them. And I'm just like, she's like, why even have this issue going on where you feel like you need to make it seem like you were the only person that made a case for them? She says she doesn't even know what this whole thing stems from. She feels like it was so random for this to happen. Jamie said he's exhausted from hearing the story, honey. And he was just more so worried about getting Arena out of the situation. It doesn't make any sense as to why these people are having this back and forth with the fight. And he says that he wonders if it could be a little bit of jealousy, because Arena is getting a little bit closer to Joy now that she's joined the group. And before it was just really her and Ashley. And he wonders if that's a problem. And Arena wonders the same thing too. Now, while Arena is talking to Jamie in the kitchen, they kept flashing back to her one-on-one where she was kind of talking to us about the story, and I could not understand. I'm so pissed. What's going on with the dressmakers in DC, honey? What was with this feather applique piece? Arena is beautiful. I mean, her and Jamie are literally, I think, my favorite couple on the show. But I just still feel like, what is going on with these pieces in between? It's just, we got to stop. I want feathers to stay in 2024. I know we're at the beginning of the year. I'm going to repeat this at the end of the year. I'm over it. Okay? I just feel like it's too much all the time. It's giving cockatoo energy. And Arena is prettier than this dress. I just absolutely hated this outfit. And if somebody said poke the bear one more time in all these segments, I was going to lose it. So we finally end that part of the segments, or at least we thought we did. And we go to commercial, and we come back, and we go into this nice little video montage where we see how everybody has spent their 2023. We see all the love, the laugh, the ending situations. We see how everybody spent Christmas and how everybody bought in the new year, honey. And we preside over to see Winter and her new man skating on the ice. So Miss Winter Harris is back, honey, and she is skating with her new boo, Yashia. And they seem to really be enjoying each other's company. They ice skate and it's cold as hell in DC, but that's a perfect winter season for them to be skating on the ice. And she is telling us how she is feeling about her new man. They've been pretty open about their conversations with their lives, and they've been talking about the steps that they want to take forward. They've been having these great couple of months dating each other, but they feel like it's now time to get friends and family involved. They've been seeing each other for a minute. I don't think you're crazy. I don't think you're crazy. Let me introduce you to my kids. That's pretty much the vibe that we're getting from Winter. It's such a nerve-wracking time when you're meeting somebody's family for the first time, or their friends in a new relationship, and certainly their children. And Winter explains that it is a very tough situation, but she feels like they're not in a situationship, and they are in a relationship that they want to move forward into a serious matter. But before they can do it, you have to meet the children. She does say that she takes very, strong caution. And I think many people do in this situation. It's such a wild experience, just dating in general. But when you finally do settle with someone, it's really important that you place the moment that they meet your children into I think a relatively safe timeline. You don't want to be introducing every new person to your kids, and they shouldn't be meeting them, and vice versa, whether you're a man or a woman, unless it's something that you just can't help because it's an accident or something like that. But she's excited for him to meet the kids, and she hopes that all goes well. She also decides to bring up the fact that they've been kicking it for a while, and she wants to know how he's feeling about the fact that they've been abstinent. So they ain't been sleeping together. And she wants to know if that's something that he thinks that they can continue, or that's something that he wants to pause or stop. Because she said she good on it. And he's like, it depends on how he feels. She said, how do you feel about it? And he goes, well, I'm fine with it. If we didn't do it, it's fine too. And she says, look, I'm looking to be abstinent until marriage. That was the goal for her. Mama said, I didn't know you're still on the same page. He said, yes, I am on the same page, but it doesn't mean I'll always be happy about it. And not in a negative way. And I love this conversation. It felt real good and grown. Winter says she wants to take her time with this relationship, and if this man is meant to be her husband, then that's when they will get to the do. And he says, I'm totally with that, and I enjoy all the beautiful moments about possibly being abstinent, but I am going to be tempted. I'm a man. You're attractive. You've been in my house. I've been in your house. We've been slept over. It is hard, but no pun intended. But it is something that he's willing to do because he sees the spiritual side of it as being something very beautiful for their homes. And he said that the outcome is stronger than his desires. I said, you better hit us with them words. Poetry style. So when she says she pretty much feels like he checks all her boxes, and she's open to the idea that they're waiting to get married, and that she wants more than just a flesh and blood man. She is looking for the real thing full down. She wants to give him a hug, but she also says that there's something she kind of wants to go over with him. She recently told him that she loved him. And she is a girl who does the love languages, and specifically the one about words of affirmation. She said that she told him she loved him, and he said, thank you for that. I appreciate you. Not I love you back. And hey, I'm not a person that believes in rushing into saying I love you if you really don't mean it, because it can be the worst thing to happen because you feel obligated. But it was beautiful that they had the discussion about it. He said that he feels like there's a lot of different ways you can rationalize stuff. And he was talking in a word salad. Essentially, I think he's just not ready to say it, and that's fine. But so don't be wasting her time. We don't play about Winter. So Quick wants to call a conference, honey. He wants to call a buddy meetup with him and Clifton at Miss Toya's Creole. And he basically wants to talk with Clifton because he feels like maybe they can help their wives resolve the situation because the fellas are good. Clifton shows up on spicy level number 5 because where was all this energy from, sir? I feel like, and here's my take on it. Y'all let me know down in the comments that y'all feel this way. I feel like people be trying to play Quick. I feel like they try to test him a lot because he's a little man, so they feel like they want to go at him. Because I just feel like Clifton wouldn't have gave the same energy to a lot of other men, even from his old season, if they was just an inch taller. I feel like he would have slid back a little bit in that attitude. But I feel like his energy was definitely on one when he got there, knowing that he was going to be meeting with Quick. And I wonder how Quick feels about people trying to try him for his size. But basically, Quick is like, look, you know what happened. I know what happened. He kind of explains it. Clifton pretends like he doesn't fully know the story and asks Quick to tell him. I feel like Quick was fair in the fact that he feels like kind of Ashley and Joy came to each other wrong about the situation when they first met up at the house that night. They both had a little bit of a tude, and he could see how it escalated, but he really wanted to go back to what it was before. And how can you be in a relationship with your wives, especially because the fellas aren't having the issue? Clifton says he normally don't get involved in women's business, but he absolutely, doesn't want to see them demise. But he also feels like he understands where his wife is coming from, because if I tell you something in confidence, why would you then go and tell somebody else? I'm thinking that you're keeping it between me and you if we're friends. And Quick feels the need to mention that they were not, in fact, friends when she told her. She did tell her best friend, but they were not friends. Her and Joy were starting to build a friendship. And it's one of those things where, can you really expect somebody that you don't know to keep your secret? So Clifton's like, that's kind of playing on a little bit of whatever. I feel like um, you're playing around when you start saying the whole, were we friends, were we not friends? I'm trusting you in confidence. If you're trying to build a friendship with me, this is the one of the ways for me to know if I can trust your ass. And Quick again says, look, don't trust nobody. Don't tell nothing you don't want nobody else to know. And I felt like I kind of agreed with both of them. Like, I expect certain people to keep my confidence, but I also tell very little to people that I don't want them to know, regardless of how tight we are. Just things I think you want to keep really close to your chest, you need to just be quiet about it until you're ready to really have other people know about it. Because even if it's your bestie and you feel like they're not going to tell nobody, sometimes people just still tell another person anyway, whether they mean to intentionally or not. And it might be best that if it's something top secret that you want to keep for the purposes of having a spinoff or your wedding or whatever you were trying to do, it would have been easier to not say anything until you were sure, and then you would have felt comfortable telling somebody. But I do agree that if you're looking to be trustworthy and build a friendship with somebody, keeping your damn mouth shut is the way to do that. Unless it's illegal. I'm not hiding no crimes for you. So they have this conversation. Quick also asked Clifton about, his recovery, and Clifton says that he's doing a little bit better. He said that they found some blood clots on his spinal cord, and it messed with his nervous system, and that's what's causing the issue with him starting to be able to walk kind of properly, because he's walking really slow into the restaurant. He's healed a lot better than he was because he's in physical therapy now 3 days a week. And he says that, they told him that they couldn't do the surgery, so like more of the blood clots broke up, and they finally did that. And now he's just trying to get his mobility back and fullness. And as somebody who had a foot issue happen a couple years back, nothing serious, just twisted my ankle, but just getting back to mobility is a tough thing when you start. Luckily, I am in full mode, ready to go 110%, but I know how it feels to be like limited in your walking and stuff like that for a little bit while you're trying to heal. It is pain stalking. So my heart does go out to Clifton on that. Clifton, however, let's quick note that his heart does not go out to the idea that anybody coming for his wife. And if he had been there, it would have been different. And I was wondering, because Quick went Scooby-Doo style, like, what you mean if you had been there, it would have been different? What you trying to say? Because you wasn't going to touch my wife. And are you trying to say that you was going to put pause on me? Like, let me know what's going on, sir, because that sounded like a little bit of a threat. I don't really know what the dynamic was here. Like I said, I think he's trying him because he is smaller. But ultimately, Clifton said he tried to stay out the business of the women, but he does say that maybe there is something that they can, reveal. Now, here's the thing. I don't know how many of y'all have seen not Love and Marriage, have seen Ready to Love, but I low-key, high-key feel like Joy and Clifton experiencing their own karma for how they treated that lady on the last season and on the reunion, to be honest. So I kind of care about their feelings about this about 10%, because maybe y'all should have treated that lady better at the end of the season. So while Clifton over there reminding Quick over brunch about, hey, I protect mine, you protect yours if it ever gets too high, but right now let's just stay out of it. Arena decides to meet Joy in a hardware store to find out more about what occurred between her and Ashley. And when I say this conversation dragged and dragged and dragged and dragged, we are on this singular issue at this point. The only thing new that has come up is the issue going on with Winter and meeting a new man. When I tell you we are still on the same story, I was pissed. Y'all got to be exhausted because I know I am tired. I cannot believe we are still talking about this same incident. Nothing else is going on. Anyway, Joy wants to know when it went left. Arena says that she's pretty sure that Ashley is just pissed off because she doesn't really apologize that often. And the fact that she felt like she did a bunch of times and Joy didn't accept it is its own thing. Arena feels like there's ways to resolve this situation because the threatening and all of the argument and fighting between everybody was just weird. She feels like they can sit down and have a civil conversation. I agree. Arena and Ashley continue to talk about the issue. And at this point, I'm annoyed. And let's move on. So Ashley and Quick are getting ready to head to the governor's house for his inaugural ball. As you know, Maryland got their first Black governor, Wes Moore, who's like awesome. If you don't know that much about him, West is like very accomplished. She kind of got a lot of notoriety around like 2008, around like the Obama era, and he even wrote a really really great book called The Other West More. It was actually pretty interesting because it kind of was a biography of his life, but it also paralleled the story of another young man by the same name that grew up in Maryland as well, where their life went to two different trajectories, and so he sort of plays upon that in the book to show like the differences of like what influence can influence and um, just the right people in your life coming in at the right time could change your whole pathway, and how even if you grew up in the same neighborhood with somebody and they have the same name or the same community, how your life could be different when you don't get those opportunities, or you don't get those helping hands, or you don't get those mentors, or just them God moments where he step in and say, hey, I got you. So it's a really really interesting book. Y'all should take a read. Anyway, he is now the first Black governor of Maryland, and Quick has been booked for the gig to play at the inaugural ball. They also happen to know the family personally. So him and Ashley are headed out, honey, and they get in the car and they start having a conversation about this incident again. Now, one thing I did love about this scene is I love that Ashley was still getting ready, but they were on their way there, because I just feel like that's such a real thing. If you've ever been somebody that constantly goes to like work functions, or you have to go to formal functions afterwards, or if you're rushing to go to formal functions on the weekends and stuff, you're still getting stuff done. Ashley was doing her makeup in the car. She got rollers still in her hair because you want that fresh look right before you walk in. So I completely identify with this moment, and I love to see that reality play out. So that was really fun to see. But while they're in the car, they still in the land of delusion. Ashley's still arguing about the fact that, she can't believe that this is going on. She's over the situation. She's not going to keep having this argument back and forth with them. Quick is playing her hype man in the background, letting her delusion run free and letting this conversation run free about the whole Joy and Arena situation. And Ashley said she really over the Joy situation and the Petties. She did help pitch them. He co-signs and agrees with that scenario. He's hyping her up on the side. It's very much giving Flavor Flav Chuck D. I did not know what was happening. Um, and I feel like at this point we have lost the plot. Like, why are we still having this conversation at this heightened level? I do not know. So they head on to the governor's ball. They said they are done with the Petties, but Arena and Ashley is something that Quick thinks needs to sit down and have a conversation, because they truly are friends and they need to talk about where it went left. So Ashley and Arena decide to meet up, and they are finally sitting down to talk through their issues. Ashley is overjoyed. She says she is done. I don't really care, but I do want to know what happened with me and my girl, because why did we get into a squamish? Why are we pointing fingers back and forth? Why were we about to thug it out over a scenario that happened between me and somebody else? And at least I want my feelings to be heard about the situation. And Arena wants to walk through it too. And they decide to walk through it over hash browns at Milk and Honey. I've been to Milk and Honey before. It's really, really, really good. There's multiple locations all over like the DC, Maryland, Virginia area, aka the DMV. And essentially, it's not connected to that other restaurant in Atlanta. I know some of y'all are familiar with Keith Lee. There was a whole drama about the real Milk and Honey, which is in Atlanta. And I believe the owners up here and them used to be like in a restaurant group, whatever, and they split apart. Or somebody used to be married to somebody, honey, and then they divorced. And I think the people in the DMV ones are not affiliated in any capacity to the people in the Atlanta ones that was getting ignorant online. Anyway, the eggs are good, the hash browns are good, the sweet potato, whatever, is good. And so we back at it. Ashley walks in to meet up with Arena, and they start having a conversation. Both ladies are dressed super cute, by the way. They had very, very cute outfits on, the suits. I loved what Ashley stepped out in that cream. And I loved Arena's kind of sparkly, fun holiday vibes with the gray suit. They both looked phenomenal, and the hair looked on point. So they decided to sit down and sort of hash out what went wrong between us at the event. And of course, Arena is saying, like, look, I was just trying to get into the mix to find out what was going on between the two of you. It went to everybody having a good time to it blowing up. And the first person I saw was Joy. So that's who I went to find out, was she okay? I had no intention of not checking on you too, but you weren't the first person I saw. Ashley can't get over that because her feeling is that you're my friend first. You're my friend. I feel like you're in my house. This was my event. When you found out that I had been through anything, your initial thing should have been to come to me and find out, is my girl okay first? And then check on whoever is your new friend. And especially because it's in my home, check on the host. So they never resolved this issue or resolved this particular issue. They start to get into more of like, hey, you should have checked on me. I wasn't trying to check on you, back and forth, back and forth. But Arena also wants to point out that, hey, y'all weren't the first people to pitch them. We all pitched them to the network. So when Joy said that part, it was very weird to me because we both had commentary on how, or if we thought that this couple should be or addition to the show. They kind of talk about that a little bit more. And then they get into the fact that Ashley also feels like, what is this relationship between Arena and Joy? It just doesn't feel authentic. Joy says Arena says she's getting to know Joy, and she kind of is wondering if there really is a bit of jealousy with Ashley and Joy. Absolutely, there is. A blind man can see it. It's incredibly interesting to see the dynamic. I can't front. I've definitely encountered these types of things in my own life, and I know plenty of people have, whether they're being honest about it or not. This is why I don't really intermingle friends and intermix friends, because I feel like whenever situations happen like this, then you have to start choosing sides. I also hate to be the neutral person, because I'm a lot like Arena. I don't really want to be in the mix or the mess. Although Arena tends to be a little bit nosy and then carrying stuff too. But I feel like you don't want to be in the mix and the mess of what's going on with two friends. And at the same time, when a new person enters the group, I could understand how there could be some jealousy when they start hanging out with the other person more, and the things y'all used to do they can't do together, or you got to always do it together and you don't feel that way. But Ashley do seem pretty high maintenance and a lot when it comes to friendship. So we'll have to see how it goes. This was the end of the episode. We were so happy. I hope they leave this issue here, but it doesn't seem like they will. But this seems like there's some more drama down the pike. Y'all let me know what you think of the episode, and we'll talk in the comments. I'll see y'all next time. Bye.